Hey folks, we're back. I actually found a Tarpon.
Mm. You found,
I found Grand Moff Tarpon.
You know, on the topic of Star Wars, we just got back. Well, not just. But, we saw the for the, was it 20th anniversary, 25th anniversary,
40th anniversary.
Oh, 40. Yeah. Oh yeah. These movies came out in like late 70s, early 80s. So, we saw Return of the Jedi on the big screen, and you know, it was funny going into that movie. I was like, oh yeah, you know, it's like, why put this one in theaters? It's like the weakest of the OG trilogy. But then I remembered, there's been a lot of movies since then, and so it's by no means one of the worst Star Wars. It's one of the better Star Wars movies.
Right.
But yeah, it just made me realize how cool Palpatine was in that movie.
Yeah.
And how uncool he was in The Rise of Skywalker. I mean,
Right.
He was cool, but like, granted, I hated the design of Snoke.
Yeah.
But I'd much rather they just stuck with Snoke than like have him just be a footnote. And like, they basically did they did what DC did with what's it called, with Steppenwolf in Darkseid.
Uh-huh.
You know, they build up this like one character and they're like, oh, by the way, here's the big guy. And it's like, okay, yeah, it's always gonna be cool to see, you know, somehow Palpatine return.
Maybe I'm writing isn't that bad after all.
But at the same time, it's like, okay, we've seen this before.
Yeah.
I'd rather you just stick to Snoke and make him cool.
I swear, every single trilogy, Palpatine always wants to die. Are you going to kill me, Master Jedi? Strike me down and take your father's place. Yes, use your anger to strike me down. Like, he just really wants to die at this point.
Also, man, I miss like old like Gremlin Palpatine, like even the prequels, like with the yellow eyes and everything.
You know, speaking of Star Wars, so last night I watched. Have you heard of Tales of the Jedi?
That's not the video game, is it?
No.
I've heard that oh, I've heard what, because the video games are called like Jedi something 2 or something like along those lines, and I've apparently heard most of them have been good.
I've heard good things aside from Battlefront, like the new Battlefronts, but you know.
Well, the new Battlefront is now the old Battlefront.
What?
Well, you figured, like, how many years ago did the remake of the Battlefront come out?
I have no idea. Well,
not a remake, I suppose.
Oh God.
Oh.
Something slid into my cargo hold.
Something's in the swamp.
Oh God.
But yeah, I just heard not great things about the most recent Star Wars game.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Apparently, like, it's practically unplayable on PC.
Oh no.
Which normally that's...
Oh, Jedi Survivor?
Maybe, yeah. Because apparently, like, you have to literally, like, lower every setting for it to, like...
Huh.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Anyways, you were saying something about Jedi.
Yeah, so the Tales of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
This is like it's kind of like a prequel to the prequels. Where, like, so we get to see...
Star Wars is so up its own ass with
right.
that stuff.
Well, because, like, okay, so, like, half the series is focused on Ahsoka, the other half is focused on Dooku.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
So we get to see Dooku, like, kind of lose faith in the Jedi and join up with Palpatine.
Mm-hmm.
And Ahsoka's half is kind of all over the place.
Mm.
So we first see her as a baby, like seeing her, like, Jedi powers awaken. And then we see her as a new Padawan. Yeah, like training with like Anakin, and then the same like as a new Padawan, then as an experienced Padawan, and then after the Clone Wars, all in the same episode.
Seems a little rushed.
Yeah, and then the last one is after Order 66.
Huh.
Which I'm like. Like, okay, I'm glad to see more Ahsoka, but like,
What was it like? Was it a Family Guy thing? Like, I want to see more of that character, and then much less of that character.
Oh yeah, what was that? I know what you're talking about. It's like I want to see a lot of him, and then all of a sudden, suddenly none of him.
I forget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I guess it does kind of like bridge the gap between like Clone Wars and Rebels on like why Ahsoka's like back in the fight.
Doesn't close the gap of quality.
See, we can't really say that because
I can. I watched enough.
Okay.
Well, okay. I can't. I didn't see the. See, I'm at odds end with that because on one hand, I think you should watch a whole series before you really because things can get better.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, there comes a point where you're like, okay, I'm beating a dead horse here.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's. I think it was just that it wasn't geared towards my demographic. But I did hear very good things about the Darth Vader scenes later on.
Oh yeah.
I still have to watch.
Like you don't watch that show for like Ezra and all those guys.
Oh yeah, I hated the main cast.
You watch it for like the returning characters like Ahsoka and Vader and Maul and Obi-Wan.
And like his discount Chewbacca guy with an Australian accent for some reason.
Oh, he showed up in Mandalorian.
He did?
Yeah. And weirdly enough, they like the design transfer was like 1-to-1.
Huh. And then like I just remember like his lightsaber looked like something you could 3D model. Like
yeah, I did not much care for the lightsaber design in that show. And like I'm like just the what's the word? Like the physics of the lightsaber, how like it like bent when you swung it.
Yeah.
Like it almost looked like one of like a glow stick.
You know we're heading in that direction though.
Yeah.
we got hilted lightsabers. What's next?
All lightsabers have a hilt.
Isn't the hilt the?
That's the crossguard.
Oh, I don't know swords then.
The hilt is the part you grab onto.
Oh.
You kind of need that part. Alright, so I need to fish up some more fish so I can get money to buy a mangrove line. Yeah, I did like the show. I just thought it's funny. It's like I wish though we had more Count Dooku. Cause like I don't know, that was like the coolest part of the show.
Yeah.
Cause Dooku, honestly, like Dooku actually had like a pretty interesting arc if you think about it.
See, I that's why I need to watch Clone Wars because like, and don't get me wrong, all respect to Christopher Lee. I love him as an actor.
Mm-hmm.
The only exposure I've had is from the prequels, and Dooku looks pretty goofy, flipping around at his age, at Christopher Lee's age in the prequels.
Well, and plus, I feel like Dooku just didn't get enough screen time.
Like, so did Palpatine, but Palpatine he was kind of a gremlin always. So,
you mean in the original trilogy?
Yeah. Well, no, the Palpatine in the prequels.
I think he got a good amount of screen time.
Oh no! I'm not talking about screen time. I'm talking about like it's called.
Oh, him flipping around?
Yeah, flipping around and everything.
I guess.
Which is it's good. I don't know. For some reason, it worked with Palpatine, but it didn't with Dooku for me. Like Palpatine was so funny, it brought itself back around to be like, I enjoy this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I feel like Dooku just needed more screen time to like really give us like a set. Because compare him to like. Here's the thing. So the original trilogy only had like one really main bad guy, that being Darth Vader. With like the Emperor coming in like the third one, and Tarkin being kind of a thing in the first one, and that was really it. You had one main bad guy, whereas in the prequels, you didn't. Each one had a new like villain, where like in the first one it was Maul, and he didn't have like any personality. He was just kind of like, I'm a red dude.
I'm a red dude. Well, I feel like, that's why I feel like the Clone Wars gives more personality to a lot of those characters.
Oh yeah, like Well, to be okay, Grievous was just, okay.
Like Grievous, like Maul, like
Grievous got like kind of the short of the stick in that department because he was just kind of like generic evil guy who's like kill Jedi, hates them, rah.
I mean, okay, I don't think Grievous was necessarily supposed to be like a super complex character or anything like that.
Okay, but I feel like he should have been more competent. Okay, but here's the thing though.
You know, for someone who's always saying kill the Jedi, you don't kill a lot of Jedi.
Well, that's the thing. There's only one Clone Wars episode where he actually does kill a Jedi.
Oh, well.
And, compare that to the Genndy Tartakovsky series where he's, like, mowing them down left and right. It's like, there was a meme I saw where it's like,
Is that a series, or is that, I thought that just got a movie or something.
Which, the Genndy Tartakovsky one?
Yeah.
No, that was a series.
Oh.
Very short series, but it was a series. But, there was a meme where it's like a Grievous and with Adam Smasher, I think his name was, from like Cyberpunk. It was like being a pushover in the main series, but being like an absolute unstoppable monster in the in the spin-off. And then like shaking hands. Cause yeah, in the Genndy Tartakovsky series, Grievous was kind of terrifying. Am I going into the swamp?
What are you doing in the swamp?
But yeah, no, I feel like Grievous could have used like more personality. But like, yeah, Dooku and Maul definitely got like way more characterization in the Clone Wars show.
I gotta watch Cyberpunk. It's like
You also gotta watch Clone Wars.
Good. I've heard good show, bad game.
I've heard it got better, but the game got better.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think the biggest issue with the game on release was that like they didn't work out all the bugs with it.
Yeah, which is weird for a game that was in development for like 8 years.
Yeah, that's honestly the sad part is that's kind of the standard these days.
Yeah.
There's so many games like coming out unfinished.
Except in the case of Nintendo, I feel like Nintendo puts out at the very least the game. Okay. What?
Scarlet and Violet had some rough beginnings.
Okay,
when
but that's not Nintendo.
It's. I mean, that's their. I mean, I know it's made by Game Freak.
Game Freak, the Pokemon Company, and somebody else. I think it's Creatures Inc. who also owns Pokemon. But yeah, so Nintendo just essentially has the right, like I don't know what the deal is, but I know that Nintendo's the only one that puts out their mainline games on their consoles.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like by proxy, but it's not like made by Nintendo.
It's kind of like how like not all there's a lot of 3D animated Disney movies that are made by Pixar, but not all 3D animated movies made by Disney are Pixar.
Correct.
Yeah. I should say CG, not 3D.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like Nintendo, one of their biggest things, like the game will be finished. It might just be light on content until the DLC fills it out, which is a little also shitty. But
well, I should hope with Nintendo, like you said with the Mario movie, when I was like, I'm like, this is made by Illumination. I'm a little worried, and you're like, Nintendo has enough money that they will, they're gonna like make sure that when it comes out, it's,
I wouldn't even say it's a money thing. It's that Nintendo is so draconian with their IPs that like they're
gonna come money.
Like they probably just like held a gun to Illumination's head until they turned out something acceptable. Because like I think I've mentioned before, they were picky about how Bowser held his coffee cup in the Wreck-It Ralph movie. So yes, I can imagine that like Illumination was on thin fucking ice with Mario.
We in the last 30 seconds here, we were watching our Tetris video before this, and I was thinking they gave like names and stuff to the Tetris characters. Even gave or to the Tetris blocks. They even gave characters to them.
Yeah.
I was like, I would love just because I know we were talking the other day how they named the the different types of chicken nuggets or McNuggets at McDonald's. I want to see what those characters are.
Yeah, right. Honestly.
I want to see the boot. I want to see the diamond. But
All right. Well, let's talk to you guys next time.
next time.
Bye.